What's up, desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and in this video I'm discussing Ben Chow speaks on Andrew Jacked and admits he was wrong. Has Iain Valliere and Nick Trigili squashed their beef? Brett Wilkin and Hunter Labrada guest posing? James Hollingshead 6 weeks out of Arnold Classic UK. How does he match up with Andrew Jacked and Martin Fitzwater? Plus GoodVito 15 weeks out. Does he have stiff competition to get his IFBB Pro Card? So we've got all that plus much more coming up in this video, guys. I hope you enjoy it. What's up, desktopers? Now let's get straight into this one. So Brett Wilkin and Hunter Labrada were guest posing over the weekend at the Colorado Cup, and both of them impressed me a huge amount as well. So straight up, the comparisons between these guys. So Brett Wilkin, I don't know how many weeks out exactly he is from his contest that he's doing this year at the end of the year, but I believe it's before the Mr Olympia. I don't know if he'll be a qualifier for 2022 Olympia or if he'll be a qualifier for 2023. I'm not sure when that cutoff exactly is, but he's looking fantastic. And the first thing I noticed about Brett's physique was his legs came up a huge amount. Now he's in slightly, I suppose, lesser condition than Hunter Labrada, but it is somewhat similar. Hunter just stays super lean year round, and so does Brett really, but I think Brett's really tried to force the food this off season and get his weight up. He's the heaviest he's ever been right now at 280 pounds. Hunter Labrada was 290 pounds. I don't know actually what the height difference is between these guys or if it's pretty comparable, but regardless, Hunter Labrada is a 4th place Mr Olympia competitor from last year, and he looks like he's made improvements as well. So massive shout out to both these guys. I'd say with Brett, his legs have come up a huge amount. That was a focus for him. He's always had a really strong medialis, which is the muscle just inside the knee, and that's just, huge, I suppose, part of a quad for him. But he's wanted to bring up overall leg size. The adductors look bigger, just the outer sweep, just absolutely everything about his legs looks bigger, and I think that will hold him in good stead, because if he's got really strong legs on stage, and he's obviously got the aesthetics as well, his upper body when he hits that hands together most muscular looks damn crazy and damn big now. He's got the aesthetics. As long as he can bring that condition back that he brought last year, then I think that he's going to be very dangerous, not just in small shows, but in the bigger shows like the Arnold Classics and like the Olympias eventually as well. Now Hunter Labrada, it's going to be interesting to see if he can actually move up from his 4th place at last year's Mr Olympia. Many people are actually predicting guys like Nick Walker to move up, guys like Andrew Jack to be right up in there now, a whole bunch of other names. So I want your guys' opinion. Will Hunter Labrada stay 4th, move down, or move up at the 2022 Mr Olympia? And what do you guys think about Brett Wilkins guest posing as well? In our next story, we're discussing James Hollingshead and his latest physique updates. You can see the one here from 2 days ago. The conditioning's coming in. You can see his abs coming in now. He's obviously got that thick layer of hair on his physique, but his quads look great. You're starting to see those lines in the outer quads. His calves are insane, which, who knows how much they're actually judged in the IFBB Pro League. But overall, pretty damn impressed with that one. And he's still got that thickness and the density he needs to his physique. And then in the back double bicep, you can see the details coming in the glutes, the hamstrings. Overall, very impressed. And James Hollingshead, when you see individual photos of him, I always actually thought he was shorter than he is, but I think he's 5'11" or so. So he's pushing on that 6 foot in terms of height. So standing by himself, might not look as impressive, but then he stands next to other guys and he's just super dense, super thick, and he's actually pretty damn round as well. So very excited to see how James Hollingshead does in 6 weeks' time at that Arnold Classic UK. I think it's a little bit under 6 weeks now, actually. And he's going to have some stiff competition, because when this lineup first came out, I thought this is probably James Hollingshead's show to lose. But then you've got Andrew Jacked in there, who really blew everyone away at the contest just this weekend at the Texas Pro. Then you've also got Martin Fitzwater, who really shocked a ton of people as well and beat out some insane names in that lineup. He beat out Kamalo Gagni. He beat out Quentin Araya. He beat out tons of solid guys. Steve Kuklo, that's a guy who's came 6th in the Olympia before. And Steve Kuklo, a lot of people were saying that he wasn't his best, and maybe he wasn't his best, but he's in pretty damn good condition. I think he could have been a little bit fuller and have that more of that freakiness, but he was up against a bunch of other tall guys, which I actually think disadvantaged Steve Kuklo in the lineup at Texas, but Martin Fitzwater beat him. So going into this contest, you would have probably said prior to the Texas Pro that James Hollingshead would be the favourite against Martin Fitzwater, but it becomes a lot closer now. So I'm very intrigued to get your guys' opinion. Where do you think James Hollingshead matches up against Andrew Jacked and Martin Fitzwater, and other guys like Mark Hector as well, who's looking insane right now, another UK guy? So it's going to be a stacked lineup once again at the Arnold Classic UK, and I cannot wait to see how it plays out. But let me know where you think James Hollingshead fits in the entire lineup. In our next story, we're discussing Iain Valliere and Nick Trigili. Have they squashed their beef? Now, normally we're talking about, two bodybuilders that are beefing. And I've actually mentioned a few times about a few back and forths that, Nick Trigili from Bodybuilding and BS and also Iain Valliere have had. But it's actually good to report a story where they're actually squashing their beef. So this went up on Iain Valliere's story. Someone asked the question to Iain, why Nick Trigili always hating on you? How did it start? Iain responds, who cares? We settled it. Let's all move on. And Iain Valliere was actually in the comments of Nick Trigili's live commentary of the 2022 Texas Pro, making comments and all that sort of stuff. And he actually did say that Andrew Jacked would beat him, I believe on stage, something to that nature. So Iain Valliere is obviously big raps on Andrew Jacked and what he brought to the stage in Texas. And it's going to be an interesting battle to see Iain Valliere next to Andrew Jacked, because Andrew Jacked has a huge stature. When I actually see Iain Valliere, I always think he's about, 5'11", 6 foot, but he's not quite that tall. So Andrew Jacked is going to look very tall next to Iain Valliere, and it's going to be a great matchup. Anyway, let me know how you think Iain Valliere goes against Andrew Jacked at the Mr Olympia, because if you're saying Andrew Jacked beats Iain Valliere, you're essentially saying Andrew Jacked is a top 6 Mr Olympia competitor, in my opinion. But anyway, let me know what you think on that, and also let me know what you think about Iain Valliere and Nick Trigili patching things up, and do you think it will last? In our next story, we're discussing GoodVito, Vitaly Ugolnikov, 125 kilograms or 275 pounds at 15 weeks out, or a little under, from a muscle contest pro qualifier that he's doing. It's on the 25th to the 27th of November. And he's actually not without competition in this one. So you can see his physique update on the screen right now, looking absolutely crazy. We've sort of come to expect that from GoodVito. But he's actually got some competition though from this guy, Christian Figueiredo. So he looks really, really good. I don't know how tall he is, but he's pretty damn impressive. So if he can come in really, really sharp and Vitaly misses his mark by a little bit, this guy could potentially beat him, and he might actually have to wait longer to get his IFBB Pro Card. Do I think that will happen? No, but there is a chance, because Vitaly Ugolnikov, GoodVito, he's always huge, always has great shape. His conditioning is the one sort of thing that could let him down a little bit. So if this other guy comes in absolutely shredded to the bone, Vitaly misses his mark a little bit, we could see a potential upset as Vitaly Ugolnikov, GoodVito, is going for his IFBB Pro Card. And that would really take a little bit of a shine off him. If he goes for his Pro Card and doesn't get it, people will be saying, well, if he can't even get his Pro Card, how's he going to do really well in the IFBB Pro League? But my opinion is he will get his Pro Card. He will come and do an IFBB, open pro bodybuilding show next year. And I believe he will have a very good chance at qualifying for that 2023 Mr Olympia. And the future is bright in bodybuilding with guys like GoodVito, Martin Fitzwater, Quentin Raya, Andrew Jacked, a whole bunch of names coming up right now. And a ton that I'm not even mentioning, like Mark Hector and all those guys that I mentioned before. So in my opinion, while we're all worried at the start of the year about, some of these lineups and is open pro bodybuilding dying, is 212 dying, all this sort of stuff, I think bodybuilding is in a very good place right now, based off the last couple of weekends and based on who we have coming through. And in our last story, we're discussing Ben Chow making some predictions prior to that Texas Pro that Andrew Jacked would maybe not live up to expectations, and a few of the other guys made the same predictions as well. Andrew Jacked, after the contest, sort of said, to the haters, basically, he basically shutted them up.
Thanks to the haters, I proved all of you guys wrong, and you guys can keep commenting and tagging and reposting your bullshit. You guys will keep seeing more and more of Andrew Jacked. I was not yet. We coming.
But after prejudging, Ben Chow actually went up to Andrew Jacked, and here's what Ben Chow had to say about the whole Andrew Jacked situation, and admitting that he was actually wrong about it.
Okay, so here we are. Apparently my opinion matters. I'm not sure why, but apparently it does. I've received a lot of messages about my comments towards Andrew Jacked, and about how I was wrong. Yeah, of course I was damn wrong. I was way wrong. So what?
Exactly. So what that he was wrong? It was a prediction. So when you make predictions for shows, I've had it before where several pro bodybuilders have actually messaged me, or they've made comments on something, or have been offended that I've actually predicted them in third instead of first, or second instead of first, or whatever. And it's even come from people I've been really friendly with as well. Now, my opinion is, if you actually predict someone to come in third or fourth or fifth or whatever, and they exceed that expectation and they blow it out of the water and they come first or second, that makes them look so much better. And also, if I'm predicting them lower than everyone else is predicting them, people are going to get in the comments and be like, you're overlooking him, blah, 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 and actually gets these bodybuilders more support. So if we're predicting them lower, sometimes it actually advantages them. Or if we pick them as like, this guy can win and most people are predicting them fourth, it sort of makes people stand up and go, oh no, you're overrating him, and they almost get more negative from it. It's like a bodybuilder that comes second that maybe should have won. They actually get more support and more fans, and the guy that wins gets more hate and more blowback online. So sometimes it's actually an advantage when we pick these guys and underrate these guys and all that sort of stuff, and they prove us wrong. I love that. I love everything about it. So there's nothing wrong with someone giving their prediction. So let's listen on a little bit more.
Now, the important thing is, after prejudging, actually before prejudging, I was backstage and I texted the guys and said, this is game over, this guy wins everything. He was backstage, you'd see him in his trunks, in full, in the flesh, whatever. After prejudging, I walked directly up to him and George, and I told him directly to his face, I shook his hand, and I told him, that was bloody impressive, he had a great physique, and he wins the show. I told the man directly to his face. That's all I needed to do. But now apparently I have to do it online for all of you as well. So here we are.
It's kind of funny how we all sort of get, we say one thing online, one small thing, and it gets blown up into something huge. And it creates a narrative. Now, Andrew Jack's using that as motivation. I mean, there's nothing wrong in that. I think if someone sort of doubts you, use it as motivation, but don't hate the person that made the prediction, because all it is in the end of the day is a prediction and we're putting it out there. Yes, thousands of people will watch it. In the case of Fouad Abiad's podcast, probably 100,000 people or 80,000 people or whatever are going to watch it. In the case of my podcast, it's more like 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 or something. So it's a little bit less of an impact. So when we get more and more views on the Bodybuilding University podcast, we're going to start to get more blowback, like obviously Ben Chow and some of the guys from Bodybuilding Bollocks and Bro Chat and Fouad Abiad's channel got as well. So let me know what you think in the comments below on that. Are bodybuilders too sensitive? Are the fans too reactive to maybe predictions and whatnot as well? Are they trying to create stories by, sending these bodybuilders message and saying, see what this guy said about you and all that sort of stuff? And it's sort of, they might not have even said anything that bad, but having, 10, 20, 30 people message someone saying, did you see what these people said about you? Sort of makes them think that, oh, maybe I should have an issue with that. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below about all of that. And guys, make sure if you do like this content, please give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. Also, if you want to find out more about that Texas Pro and our full review, which goes for over an hour with myself, Lee Priest, Milos Sarchev, and Stanimal Standalonju, check that out. I'll put the link in the description below, and I'll put a little card up above as well. So anyway, guys, that's it for me. For Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding, we are out.